What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, latest and updates, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So the market does open in roughly around 15 minutes. So far during the pre-market, rather quiet, not just in Opendoor's case, but across the board. And most likely, big money is waiting until market does open to do some extreme moves. And a lot of that is going to be because of the data that did come out. So starting off with macro data, we did have PCE and GDP. Both not really coming in line with expectations. So PCE month over month did come in at 0.4, forecast of 0.2, and then GDP came in at 0.5, forecast of 0.7. So both weren't the greatest. Of course, when it comes down to GDP, that could be somewhat spun as a potential positive to justify a maybe earlier rate cut, but based on what was stated from the FOMC minutes yesterday on how the Feds are actually open and were open in March to rate hikes, I don't think that the market's going to be spinning really all that much. And I know I didn't do an Opendoor video yesterday, but we did get some pretty big mortgage data, and similar to the last three reports, it wasn't great. So applications did come in at negative 0.8, mortgage market index 276. But again, the market kind of brushed this under the rug because the market was in full-on FOMO during this time frame. Unfortunately, a lot of the stocks did get dragged down because of just Israel kind of breaking the ceasefire, as well as this, so the FOMC minutes. So that's a quick summary. As far as updates from Opendoor itself, not really that much official news. Kaz did state one thing that might be seen as optimistic, because the Open Believer did kind of call out a lot of individuals just saying, hey, is Opendoor doing a offering? Kaz just said, no, we are not. So that's kind of, I guess, good information to keep in mind, that they aren't doing a offering anytime soon. And based on, I think, their last earnings, they should be, in theory, good up until the tail end of Q3. That's probably when they'll need a little bit more money, but still, nonetheless, this is somewhat good information. Aside from that, Kaz hasn't really put out all that much, nor has any other Opendoor member. Eric, I know a lot of people still correlate Eric with Opendoor, but it looks like he is jumping ship again, and this is my biggest issue with him. He is all over the place, so it looks like he's kind of pumping this DAVE stock, and previously it was, I think it was Peloton, and just, he's all over the place. So I think in general, Eric, even though he still does go outside of Drake's house like every day, still I think he needs to like hone down and focus on like two stocks, and that is it. One of which could be Opendoor, but I think in reality, as I've mentioned, him making a cult-like stock probably isn't the best for Opendoor. And since he's kind of stopped talking about Opendoor so much, Opendoor in reality is starting to trade like a true actual company and follow more alongside the broader market. So let me know your viewpoint on that. In regards to shorts, I'll give you a quick overview of what they are doing. So far during the pre-market, they're increasing about 11,000 shares. They did return a little bit yesterday, so at least yesterday's kind of FOMO did spook them, but still 15.41% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 129 million shares overall being shorted. So if there's some pretty big updates that does occur throughout the trading day, I can do a follow-up video, but based on this, it looks like shorts might be kind of taking advantage of a lot of the grayness, so a lot of the bad data that did come out, and as well linking to just geopolitical issues from the Middle East. Since the market's not open, there's no point really going over a lot of the options, but yesterday we did see a little bit more bullishness. From the bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above 5. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 450. Right now, with it at 464, it is right above this pivot point. So for those of you that want to, let's say, day trade, swing trade, just watch for this 463 to be that key pivot. So if Opendoor is able to close above it, then 479 is going to be the next strong target slash resistance, followed by 490. Flip side, 446, 436 is going to be the next strong support points. So definitely Opendoor is a very volatile stock. So I think you can make some pretty good money by swing trading it. And I think a lot of individuals as well as institutions are starting to kind of really do that, and that's just merely by looking at a lot of the transactions occurring on the secondary market as well as dark pool. But aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, as of today, it is below the 10-day moving average. And in fact, because of yesterday's crazy day, it did actually bounce off of that 50-day moving average. So for today, you really want to watch for it to close above that 470, best case scenario, ideally. So that would kind of build up some good momentum. Aside from that, though, the 50-day moving average is sitting at 496, and that is also a very big deal for a lot of growth stocks. So I think Opendoor does have, at least in the short term, some pretty good technical catalysts to really again, kind of move things higher, because for whatever reason, if Opendoor moves up because of, let's say, a ceasefire or maybe good data tomorrow, because we do have a lot of big data tomorrow as well, then in theory we should be seeing a nice little bit of a push higher. Stochastic RSI is at 32, so arguably considered oversold. Not really that much coming out from any analysts. So last one was on March the 9th. That was JPM. Aside from that, though, there's not really any articles kind of talking about Opendoor. So Opendoor being a momentum play, in my opinion, and nobody really talking about it, it kind of shows that we're getting like less and less volume, and it's very apparent right over here. So I think in general, Opendoor hopefully will have a banger of a upcoming earnings and really push things back to where they realistically should. But market does need to calm its ass down and kind of realize that we need a catalyst. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. This is a very quick video on kind of what's really been moving it, some of the data points, and various things along those lines. So I wouldn't really consider Opendoor down and out just yet. So there is still some pretty good opportunity for it to still really move higher. But I think overall, Opendoor, the best thing to do is just dollar cost average. Let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.